Well, yes, hello there. You have tuned into another Woomoo transmission. A little quick thank you. We've hit 5,000 subscribers this morning. That's gone from 30 to 5,000 in about 3 weeks, so we're cruising. Now, I've got a few episodes for you today, 3 in fact. Take as much time as you need. But to kick things off, we're going to be talking about purpose in a world of new work. Now, I've covered this briefly in the Futurology episode. A coming golden age is upon us. Despite all the doom and gloom you'll see in the media, we've spoken about this before. Media is a tool to propagate fear, to drive consumerism under the illusion of comfort. Well, the consumerism model will be slowly dying in this world of abundance. But fear not, we'll hash all this out in this episode. Now, why are we entering a age of abundance? Why will we have everything at our fingertips, everything that we need, and a lack of want? At least that's the plan. Well, if you've been keeping up, obviously this is a result, or will be a result, of AI, automation, and robotics. It's no secret that it is already replacing a plethora of jobs, but this will exponentially increase beyond anything really conceivable to most people right now. I'm not sure anyone who has seen the Uber CEO. I mean, they have 9 million drivers worldwide. 9 million. All of which will be automated, and that's just Uber. That isn't to take into account other rideshare, public transport, all these sort of drivers. I mean, manufacturing, you're seeing Amazon completely wipe out their workforce, BMW doing the same. To replace with these robotics and AI, it's cheaper, it's more efficient, and while it is sad to many, this is a good thing, okay? We've covered extensively that we aren't what we identify as. You are not a banker. I am not a factory worker. You are not a writer. You are everything and nothing. But why just be one thing, right? We tend to attach our identity, that is our ego, to what we do. Now, I'll cover this a little bit later, but we are human beings, not human doings, not human wantings, not human anything but. We are beings, right? So, how soon this will come to play out is anyone's guess, but I think it will be a lot sooner than people are kind of prepared for. One must trudge through hell before reaching the heavens, so do expect some form of existential dread on a macro scale, and perhaps we must traverse a little dystopia before we get to utopia. But anyway, let's continue. So, in the current model, right, and again, this is programming, this is a systemic thing. We are born and, you don't even think twice. Yes, you go to school, you go to uni, you get that job, you take some debt on, you get married, you take some more debt on, you have a kid, then you kind of slave away for 40 years until, thank Christ, I can retire now. Now I can finally do what I want. Well, that model is very quickly changing. So the idea is, and again we've spoken about this, is we should always be doing what we want to do. Our highest passion and excitement. That doesn't mean we aren't working per se. Work and play are the same thing on opposite ends of the spectrum. This is not work for me. This is fun. This is easy. And I'll be covering this in another episode I'm doing today in regards to a modern interpretation of the Tao, or the Passion of the Christ. But the idea is, think of it like this. If money and time were no object, what would you be doing? What do you actually feel like doing with your best intentions, right? So the idea of where we are heading is essentially retirement from birth. Now people are scared of this. What am I going to be? This is a really good thing. Go golfing, go fishing, go do whatever you want, right? As long as you're not hurting anyone, it doesn't matter what you will be doing because you'll be living in a world of abundance, okay? Now, again, we've covered this in my Life as Art sort of episode. Understanding that in the current model of the system, our whole life is outcome focused. We work, why? For money. We do things, why? For others. this all needs to change. We need to start doing things for ourselves, trusting that what is best for us is best for all humanity. It is best for the other because there is no other. Again, this is the Maya. And I mean, I had this as in a little mission statement in a book I wrote last year. To quote the wonderful Dante from his Divine Comedy, this whole, what I'm doing, hopefully, is to aid the world who lives all wrong. Because the whole system is backwards, right? Now, human beings, rediscovering our human nature. My sign this morning, for those who have seen, I carry around a little sign with my social media handles, and I change a little quip each day, sitting down at the cafe and down at the pub in the afternoon. Now, today's was human being. You find me another human being, and I'll give you a medal. You'd probably like that, wouldn't you? Look, we aren't human tryings, we aren't human doings. This is unnatural. This is why we really struggle to fit in, because we're not meant to. It is literally the antithesis to our being. So, on that note, it will signal a return to the human being. When we have all this abundance, when we have what we want, what we need as well, obviously, at our fingertips, after the probably little rough patch coming up, but that'll be okay, we'll make it. We need to rediscover our human nature as a human being, doing what we feel like doing, not doing what we're told we should be doing, okay? This is a huge kind of conundrum. People allow other people to dictate how they should feel. People allow other people to dictate what they think, right? There is no sovereignty in there is no free will. And just on free will, in my previous episode, The Bicameral Mind, for any philosophers who love studying the conundrum of do we have free will, do we not? Yes, we do. And that can be demonstrably proven in that we have a left hemisphere for discernment. But let's not get off track and keep it going. Now, in a world of not having to do anything, many people would go, oh, well, people are just going to rob, they're going to steal, they're going to become addicts. Like, what is there to do? You have to understand, crime, ill-intended behavior, let's put it that way, is a product of the system. It's a product of oppression. It is a form not only of escapism, but of it is a product of desperation. Because the system is so polarized, there is such a discrepancy between the lower socioeconomic to the elite that it doesn't force it. No one is forced to commit crime, but it does heavily encourage it. Now, in a world of abundance, when you have everything that you need, that is to say you will be happy. What is happiness? Happiness is being happy without, because you don't need anything. It is contentment. Now, speaking from experience, hurting others, we can categorize that into crime. I touched on this in the Psychology of Hurt episode. Why do we hurt others? Well, I don't any longer. Once upon a time I did, not physically, but through manipulation, lying, just being a bastard. We've all been there. We all go through the narcissistic arc, the hero's journey, We're all born a hero thinking we have a villain to conquer, only to realize we are that villain ourselves, right? This is natural. It's okay to accept these things. In fact, it's very healthy. In fact, it's necessary if you want to start leveling up. Sorry, we're back. Okay, so the psychology of hurt. Why do we hurt others? Why do people inflict pain on others? Or themselves, right? You only chop a man's head off to make yourself feel taller. Hunter Biden said something very profound, or revealed something very profound the other day. I saw it on Reddit. Me and him share a bit in common. Once a crackhead. Still part-time, maybe. But he mentioned that essentially the power structure within Washington is essentially a closeted gay cartel, right? Now, why would these people be inflicting pain? Because if you are closeted, it doesn't mean you don't have to be gay. It's just a rejection of one's true self. If you reject your true self, the psychology of hurt is that will then be reflected on others. By hurting others, understanding that there is no other. It is a subconscious projection of hurting yourself because you hate yourself because you are not that you wish to be. What is ego? It is the desire to be something else. So it's very interesting understanding, why do people want to go to war? Why do we want to put others down? Why do we want to make other people feel shitty? It's because we feel shitty and we're subconsciously projecting that onto others. It's a lack of acceptance of, okay, it is what it is, but you fail to accept that. And so it's very easy to see how that can manifest over many years, generations. I mean, rest in peace, Lindsay Ladybug Graham, a senator who just recently passed in the States, an openly closeted homosexual. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. No straight lines exist in nature. But you can see how over, 50, 60, 70 years, and Hunter Biden used this analogy, it is a black hole growing within you. It festers, it rots, and naturally, because you fail to accept that, you feel like you need to take it out on others. It is a terrible, and I'm greatly compassionate for people who are in this kind of mind space. Yes, we can condemn their actions, but also understand these people are hurting themselves. This is why they're hurting others. So compassion is a good step, and forgiveness is an even better step to helping anyone feeling like that accept who they are. And I can guarantee you, when one is content, that is, when one is happy, hurting others does not exist. It doesn't cross the mind. If you love yourself, you love all else. This is fact, okay? And people like to say, yeah, they do love themselves. Well, do you? These are the deep questions we need to be asking ourselves. Now, the utopia, aka the heaven on earth, and what it requires. It doesn't require money. It doesn't require technology. It doesn't require anyone holding our hand. What it does require is first acknowledgement of what is. Okay, the system's completely fucked right now. Okay, maybe I'm acting like this because of this. Okay, maybe do some soul searching. If we can acknowledge, recognize these fallacies in ourselves and in the world through just sheer awareness, we will be able to transcend them. Okay, and that is what will usher in the utopia, the heaven on earth. It is a state of being, not some Jetsons film with little flying hovercrafts and stuff. It is a state of being, a state of mind, okay, which is shared globally, right? So this is coming. I will touch on this in the next episodes as to why and how it is coming, but for now we'll leave it there. Thank you once again, for tuning in. That was fun. Until the next one, I'll see you in 5. Woo-moo. Woo-way.